So we're going to start the talk. This is Zach's first talk on his next slew of talks that he just kind of talked to you all about. And since I've seen most of you except for a couple of you, I'm Justin. I'm one of the docs here along with Zach. This is Blake. He's going to try to just get pets from all of you, but Zach is really excited about this talk. I feel like he's more excited about this one more than any because it's about stress and it's something that we deal with on many facets of our life every single day. And it's something that we try to help you out with here, and he's going to go through a lot of it today. So be prepared for lots of things. I can't tell you any of the secrets, but yeah. So Dr. Zach, take it over.
Awesome. So, in preparing for this talk, I have gone through all the stages of stress. So my hands are cold, my mouth is dry. So you guys get it. But no, I'm super excited to talk to you about this whole series of lectures because the human body's 300,000 years old, and we've been the same model, the same species since that time. And only recently have we really become, addicted to our phones and just doing things that are very artificial compared to how we were designed. And one of the things that's like really messing with us is since the body is so old, it's intelligent, but it's old. And so anytime we have a weird input going to it where we're worried about our boss, we're constantly on a flickering phone, the body doesn't know how to handle that. It's not designed for that. And so one of the great things about the body is just how intricate it is. And I feel like I've had the honor of learning about it and dissecting the body and just seeing, like holding things in my hands and actually seeing how it works. And it's amazing. It's fascinating. And I've been learning about it for 14 years and I'm still like, oh my God, this is so cool. But one of the systems or one of the features that our modern society is kind of messing with a little bit is our stress system. So in the scientific realm, it's called our sympathetic nervous system. It's part of our autonomic nervous system, which just means it just happens in the background. We're not in control of it. It just happens. So one of the things that happens in the modern society is that it's going to try to protect us, right? And that's how it was designed 300,000 years ago and millions of years before that with all of the models that came out before us, like Homo erectus and all of those. So over millions of years, we've come up with this system to protect us no matter what. And it's supposed to be a really quick on, I have to fight a tiger, I have to run away from the tiger, and then it turns off and you go back to your baseline. But nowadays, it doesn't really happen like that. We're constantly just kind of worrying about things. What's the boss gonna say? What's traffic gonna be like? Am I gonna be able to pay my bills? All of that. So since the system is so wound up all the time, we have some health issues that happen, and we'll get into that in a minute. But the system, just as an example, if you ever walk down a trail and you see a snake or even a branch that looks like a snake, the next thing you know, you're in the air, right? Like you've jumped, you were trying to stay away from it. And while you're in the air, you might have looked down and be like, oh, that's just a stick. Why am I up here? It's your body. It's quick. It's going to help protect you no matter what. So what we're going to do is I want you, since we're all kind of gas pressed, meaning the sympathetic nervous system is you press the gas in your car and it's revving up, revving up, revving up. And the parasympathetic nervous system, which is the second part of this, is what we would rather be in a constant state of being in. That's our rest and digest. That's, I'm calm, I'm sitting on the beach with a mimosa, everything's great, right? But nowadays, that gas is pressed either a little bit or all the way. And I like using the gas pedal analogy because you can just kind of picture it. So what I want to do, I want you to feel the parasympathetic system before I start talking about all the bad things about the sympathetic nervous system and how we're kind of running it. So if everyone can just close their eyes, and we're just doing a nice couple of minutes. So I want you to take some nice deep breaths. I want these breaths to come from your stomach, from your diaphragm. So no chest breathing. So I want your stomach to actually stick out while you do this. So nice deep breaths in. These are at your own pace. and out. Just keep doing that for a minute or so. Now, you're going to have thoughts that come into your mind. Try to let those go. There we go. I think that's good. So do you feel how your heart rate may start to calm down a little bit? Do you feel a little bit more relaxed? That's what we want. We want to be in this state. Keep your eyes closed. We're all stressed out. Might as well just enjoy this while you have it. Good. So we're going to come out of this in a minute. Keep your eyes closed though. Give me another nice deep breath. Ha! Good, I got one. Okay, so that's the sympathetic nervous system ramping back up. How do you feel right now?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay.
It's up there.
Okay, so your heart rate goes up, your blood pressure goes up, you start shifting blood from your digestive system and start shifting it out to your muscles of your arms and legs because you're trying to get ready to fight or run away from something. And that's what this system is built for. So how do you feel now? Have you calmed down? Has that...
A little warm.
A little warm? Yeah, see? So, and everyone's experienced these different dry mouth, sweating, shaking hands, all of this. But you see how that kind of tapers off relatively quickly, and now you're just at your baseline stressed out.
Mm-hmm.
Not all the way calm, but not all the way just where I got you. Good, I'm glad that you played along. So, this system that's made to protect us is that gas pedal, and we can only rev this engine so many times for so long before things start to break down, and it's not going to play out the way that it was designed. So if we rev the engine way too long, then we start to get anxious, so we get anxiety issues. If we keep on with anxiety and we don't really work on the cause of the anxiety, that can lead to depression very easily. And some of you may have felt that. Depression, if that's not taken care of, can lead to suicide. And I'm bringing it up just because it is in the top 10 leading causes of death. So it's not just it's not a small thing. It's actually happening, and people are getting very anxious, very depressed, and ending their life. So things that happen while the system is revving up, and you may have experienced this or at least know someone that's experienced this, where if you get stressed out, you get sick a lot easier, or that cold that went around, you got it, and even though some of your friends may not have. And when you're stressed out, your body is kind of like in Star Trek or Star Wars, so you have that spaceship going through space and you have their force field on it. When you're stressed out, your body takes that force field down because there's only so much energy and so many resources that your body has that it's not worried if you're fighting off a cold or it sees a bacteria floating around. That's not priority number one. Priority number one is, hey, there's a tiger. You might not be here to even try to fight off a cold. Let's put all of our energy onto this. But like I said, we don't have tigers anymore. We're not really super in the wilderness worrying about things like that. We're bosses, traffic, bills. Mm-hmm. So people are getting sick a lot easier now. If you get a cut in your arm, and they've done studies where they'll give someone a little cut in their arm and they just see how long it takes. And they watch people that are just the control, like nothing special is happening with them. And then the other group of people are taking care of like an elderly parent or something like that. So they're in a caretaker role and they're just stressed out, as one can imagine. So the people that are taking care of an elderly person are just under a lot of stress. The cut in their arm heals days to weeks slower than someone that is just every day pretty okay, less stressed. And it makes sense because your body only has so many resources. The other thing is growth and repair decreases. So your body is constantly monitoring what's happening around us and is deciding, hey, is this a good environment to be alive in or not? If it thinks that it's not a good environment or it's not appropriate for life, your cell reproduction slows down and you're just not going to heal like we talked about. The other thing that goes into is reproductive issues. So if you're overly stressed out, why would your body put effort into making sure everything is working right to be able to procreate? So people are having just either fertility issues, ED, erectile dysfunction, things along that nature. In guys, testosterone goes way down if you're stressed out. So you're not even in the mood to do some of these things to recreate, which again is that system just monitoring and doing what it needs to do to save energy for the most part. Other problems, and I wrote them all down because there's a list. Sleep issues. If you're so amped up because you saw an email or whatever, you have adrenaline and cortisol and everything else running through your system, there's no way that you're going to be able to sleep correctly. You'll either sit there in bed with your eyes open just hoping you fall asleep, or you'll fall asleep for a little bit, wake up, and then not be able to re-fall asleep. All of these also are problems that people go to the doctor for, right? So then people are getting put on medications to help them sleep, but they're not addressing the cause of the stress or the cause of the system being revved up. So you're just kind of putting a Band-Aid on it. And I'd rather you kind of maybe see if you can find what's causing the stress, and we'll get into that in a little bit. Some other things, I just had my dentist patient come in and he says, I have to give the stress talk a lot because people are grinding and clenching their teeth. And so then they wear out their teeth and it just causes jaw issues, and no one wants any of that. In the office, Dr. and Justin and I see people all the time like, super stressed out this week, my neck hurts, my shoulders are just so tight. And you're breathing with your chest, because when you're stressed out, you're not doing that nice deep stomach breathing that I wanted you to do a second ago before I scared you. You are breathing with your chest because you're doing like a hyperventilation, usually a quicker breathing. And then the muscles up in your shoulders are getting really tight because they're trying to pull your ribs up to help you breathe better and more efficiently. But again, it can only do that for so long before the muscles get tight and you're just like, and then you'll get tension headaches, neck pain, all of that fun stuff. I touched on it a little bit, but when you're getting ready to fight off a tiger or do anything back in the day along that line, when you shunt blood to different areas of the body, your blood pressure is going to go up and your heart rate's going to go up. So people go again to the doctor for increased blood pressure and things along that line to help, bring that down, when maybe we could work on some stress management techniques. Let's see. Shaking hands, not so bad. But again, if you have adrenaline running through your system, you're going to have shaky hands, you're going to be doing some other things. Your pupils will be dilated, and you will have decreased learning. If you've ever been super stressed out studying for an exam or anything like that, that's the worst way to study, just because you're not going to remember anything that you are trying to tell people or answer the questions. So how the system works is chemicals and hormones get released based on how the body thinks things are happening around them. So those are internal things, as in worrying about what Stacy might say at the office, or just worrying about bills or anything along that line. Externally, though, our environment has a lot to play in that, but a lot of that is our brain is just picking up signals, but there's a next step, and it's our mind. It's how our mind is interpreting what's happening around us for the most part. So if there was a thunderstorm outside right now, which there might be, I love thunderstorms. So I'd be like, oh, awesome, there's a storm, let's, have fun. You might hate thunderstorms because of a past experience. Maybe you were in a tornado, I don't know. But so if a thunderstorm happens to you, you might start to have that control system and that protective system kick in. Same environmental thing is happening, but the way that you're interpreting it is different. And therefore your body is going to send out chemicals that match your mind's interpretation. So we have to be aware, at least, of how our thoughts are and our self-talk that we have with ourselves. I know some people kind of get in that, God, I'm so stupid, why did I do that? And this negative self-talk really has this negative effect that causes this protective system just to run over time. And you constantly have these stress hormones in your body. and then you get all the horrible things that we just talked about. So recommendations for decreasing stress and maybe staving off some of these bad health conditions are: be aware of background noise. It might be something you didn't think of, but if you wake up in the morning and the first thing you hear is your alarm blasting and you wake up, you're already starting your day off kind of on the wrong side. If you're in an environment where there's always a beeping or a buzzing or children crying or whatever in the background, that is going to have an effect on you whether you're realizing it or not. So be aware of what's happening around you. If you have the ability to take control of background noise, maybe play music, even white noise with like rivers and birds singing and all of that. We have birds on the TV a lot in here during the spring, and it's because of how we're designed. If there's birds chirping around you, it probably means that there's not a predator around, so you can kind of chill out and relax. So that's why we have birds on the TV when you come in the summer. Some other things. If you can maybe put your phone down a couple hours before you go to bed. And I say that because if you get to bed and you're, checking a couple texts before you fall asleep, and you decide to check your email and you see an email from work or from whoever, and it's you need something done or there's a problem or whatever, what are you going to do? You're going to put your phone down and then you're going to sit there in bed thinking and worrying about the thing that you shouldn't have even looked at in the first place. So if you can turn notifications off on your phone, you don't need to know every time someone likes a photo. I don't have my email push notification, like I have to sign in for me to even see that I have new mail. So those are some things that you can do. Getting rid of the phone, putting the phone down, getting rid of social media, staying away from the news would be great. And then, if you can find a way or a place that you can kind of just be on your own and meditate, and you don't have to sit there, lotus, like you don't have to do that. You can, it's great, but if you just want to go for a walk in the woods or just have like an extra room and just tell your husband or whatever, like, hey, I'm going to go in there for 20 minutes, don't bother me. If you can kind of get into a habit of, hey, I'm going to calm down, I'm stressed out, I know I'm stressed out, and I know the symptoms of it with the sweating, with the shaky hands, with the less sleep, you might be more apt to be like, hey, I need some alone time, I need to do some yoga, go for a run. However you decompress is fine. Getting into nature is going to be a big one. I know some people are like, oh God, nature, I don't like that. But if you can go for a walk, you don't have to go camping for a week solid, but if you just go for a walk in nature and just kind of sit there with the phone off, no headphones in, and just hear the birds and the stream, that's going to be helpful. And if all of that fails, or if you're thinking, oh, should I do this, or how maybe can I help myself a little bit better, just think, how were we living? We don't have to go back 300,000 years, that's a long time. Go back 400 years. How were people living 400 years ago? They were eating healthier. They weren't worried about, bills. They were worried about some other things. And they're moving, like they're constantly moving. They were in nature. They were probably growing their own food. They're, just more connected than what we are now. We're very inside. Everything we do is pretty artificial. So if we can just think back, and this will go through all the talks. If you can think for the food talk, for example, what were we eating 400 years ago compared to what we're eating now? Now is all just processed chemical crap. Sugar, yes. So I can't give you every single thing to look out for, every single way to kind of let go. But if you can just picture how we were designed, that will give you a good starting place. And I think you'll be able to make a lot of decisions for yourself. Pretty much in conclusion, if you're having any of these sleep problems, sex drive, tight shoulders, shaking, sweating, just nervous, anxious, just realize that it's actually your body doing what it was designed to do, and to not really freak out about why is that happening or why do I feel like this. Just try to do some meditations, take your foot off the gas, see if you can get the engine to rev a little bit lower, at least for a little bit. Because if you can turn that system off, you're going to start to repair, your immune system's going to boost back up, you're going to feel so much better if you can just kind of take that system and make it how it was designed. If you need it, it kicks on, it kicks off, that's it. So see what you can do in your everyday, day-to-day living, and little changes. It doesn't have to be big changes right away, but if you can make little changes here and there and make some time for yourself, I think you guys will be healthier, and I think you're going to be able to make better health decisions from here on out. That's it. So is there questions on anything?
I have a question. You'd mentioned the cortisol, so that's part of the stress cycle, right? Elevated cortisol levels.
Yep.
So all the things that you recommended would bring our cortisol levels down. Is there anything else, like in terms of supplementation, or like if I can't get out to hear a stream or walk in the woods?
Yeah. There's like, so you're talking supplements, or
if I can't slow my schedule down.
Okay.
What's
if you
another
can't
app?
do like an app and have background noise or anything like that, some stuff. I mean, I took CBD oil before this talk even happened, and that's why I'm a big proponent of that. Just because I use it every day for stress, and Justin can tell you, like when I get stressed out, I get pretty stressed out. So he's had to deal with that.
I'm impressed by this so far.
What was that?
You're smooth talking so far.
So far?
Not even ums or.
I know.
Beautiful.
The big one would be CBD. The other thing, just make sure your diet is good. Like if you're eating crap's gonna come out. So if you can keep, inflammatory foods out of your diet, and just keep processed things out of your diet, that's gonna make you feel good.
Like vitamin D.
Vitamin
D
yep.
is good. So, sunlight would be, like even 20 minutes of sunlight is really great for your brain.
20 minutes of like morning sunlight with at least like arms and legs exposed and face is enough to get the vitamin D requirements for that day. And I don't want to say take a vitamin. I'd rather just eat better than take a supplement like that. But yeah.
I think kava tea pretty good too. I've heard things. I don't know. Some of my friends talk about kava tea a lot.
I don't know about that.
I mean, there's so many different things that everyone's like, this thing is great for this and this is great for that. But yeah, if you find that, even if it is like something like kava tea or something random, that gives you that like, oh, this tastes good, this makes me feel good, as long as it's not like some crazy drug or something like that. That's gonna give you that, like, you know what I mean? It's like alcohol. It's like, oh, this is great. This is gonna make me like feel less stressed.
Yep.
Like that cup of tea will make you feel less stressed.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna bring you back to that parasympathetic, like calming nature of it.
Yep. If you can stay away from caffeine, nicotine, and alcohol as well, those are all very uppery things. Alcohol is a CNS depressant, but in small quantities, it actually elevates you. So if you're having problems sleeping, don't do caffeine past 5 o'clock. Try to limit it to like 1 cup in the morning, if at all. And I think that will help supplement kind of more food, but supplement-ish.
Can you talk a little bit more about CBD oil?
Sure. What is it?
Well, no, because there's done a ton of long-term studies.
Yep.
Like, what do you benefit from it? Like, how are you using it?
Yep.
Quality.
So since it's been suppressed for so long, there's not ample amounts of research. What I know and what I tell you guys is like what I've experienced myself. So I take it for stress and anxiety. And how I describe it is, if you ever walk into a room and there's like an HVAC system running in the background, and you don't really notice it's there until it turns off and it's super quiet, and you're like, oh my god, that's so much nicer. That's what CBD oil kind of does for my anxiety. It's like there's that little thing shaking inside, and then the CBD hits and it just stops, and you're like, I didn't even know like I was shaking my leg, like, you know? So
So you're taking it when you're triggered.
Or are you taking it?
I take it in the morning, and then at some
like
point,
everything.
I take it in the morning, and then at some point, afternoon, evening. And I
Before you
find,
come in.
yeah, right before you come in,
I'm just kidding.
but like, it's funny because like we'll give it to Blake, and if you guys have been in the office, you know Blake is like very like, oh god, like, oh my god. But I've been giving it to my cats too, because one's like a feral cat, and one is like a I'm on your lap all day cat. The feral cat like doesn't like you coming up to her and trying to pet her because she just runs away. But I've been giving them CBD in their food, and she's like coming up onto the couch. She's like not running away. She actually lets me pet her. And again, to go back to the environment, how you read it, her background memories are telling her danger, run away. Whereas the other cat's like, oh, food, pets, I love this. So it's all how you read it. But if the CBD can kind of take that system and just kind of suppress it a little bit and get that shaking out of there, you're gonna feel good. The other thing it's good for, so topically it's good for like inflammation. A lot of people with arthritis use it. And how it got its big start was seizure control in children. Kids would be having seizures all the time, and like the medications that they're on were either not helping enough or not at all. And that's how the Charlotte's Web even came about. Was some kid was having seizures. They showed up to their house and was like, here, try this. You know, there's no side effects to it. They say if you're pregnant, you shouldn't take it. So if you're pregnant, don't take it. But the kid's seizure stopped almost immediately. And so they're like, oh, there's something big to this. So seizures, it's a nervous system protectant. So it's just supposed to help guard against things. There's some research that says like it's anti-tumor. I don't know. I'm just saying what I read. And
Like it's proactive rather than reactive care.
yeah, it's like, I'm not sure about I don't even want to talk about the tumor part because I don't know enough about it and I don't want to just.
But maybe in general, based off what you're saying with stress, like if you're just being proactive about managing your stress in general, it could be seen as preventative to any type of ailment that's physical.
Yeah, so we're exposed to bacteria all day, viruses, fungus, all that. Right now, you have things invading you right now. Enjoy that. You also have cancer cells growing in you right now. Everyone does. So you want your immune system to be working correctly. Because they'll just find that, be like, oh, that shouldn't be there. They'll take it and throw it out. When your immune system's hampered, then they'll be able to grow and proliferate because nothing's stopping them. Nothing's being like, whoa, that shouldn't be there. Because you're looking at the tiger or worrying about your bills.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, proactively, that could help long run, but that'd be really hard to do a study on. Was that good?
Yes.
Okay.
He's like, I could that for hours just.
I thought what you were saying about the study with the cut was really interesting. Would you be able to elaborate more on that in terms of like, so it's the people who had more stress in their life, their cuts healed slower.
Their cuts healed slower. So again, immune system and healing and repair. If your resources are focused on something else, this is just background burner stuff. Like it's not important. So it's still going to happen, but at a much more slow rate. So they just put a couple millimeter incision in everyone's forearms and just took pictures of it every day and just monitored how well it healed. And the people that were just under normal everyday type stress, it healed. I forgot the things. It's at least a week faster than the people that were under ample amounts of stress.
I mean, even on that, like same note, without just a cut, if you've ever played a sport and like you might have sprained an ankle, if you wanted to play, you're out there playing.
Yeah.
And then 5 minutes, 10 minutes in, you totally forget about your sprained ankle until like 4 hours after your game. And your ankle says, oh, hey, I'm black and blue, I'm super swole. So your body can totally take over and just say, like, this is going on, I'm going to focus on this. So that's kind of like more of an easier one to like maybe digest if you might have played a sport. But there's so many.
Well, the sympathetic system, how it protects you, that gas pedal can be a little bit depressed, or it can be full on like pressed to the floor, which is when people are like in shock. Like when you're in shock, you might be in the most amount of pain you've ever been in, but you don't feel it at all. and they'll get you out of the burning building or away from whatever's happening. And then that's when people get into problems because they seem fine and they're talking and they seem with it. And then once the adrenaline kicks out, once the epinephrine kicks out, when that system calms back down is when they crash. And then that's a lot of times when people kind of pass away if someone's not watching them. So this system has a wide range of protection of a little bit of increased heart rate to full-on shock. Mm-hmm. But both of them are trying to keep you alive. And we're just kind of putting a weird format into it right now because the body doesn't know what an iPhone is, you know? The body doesn't know what a flickering TV is. It's just thinking it's input and it needs to do something about it.
You talk about background noise. Are there other kind of easy things you can do to your environment to help, whether it's like scent or color or lighting or I don't know?
Yeah, lighting is going to be big.
Yeah.
Just for better night's sleep.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you think about it, we grew up as soon as the sun went down, or evolutionary-wise, when the sun went down, it was dark, right? We might have had a fire, depending on how advanced we were, but other than that, it was dark. So our brain and our circadian rhythms have been working in the same cycle for millennia. And now we introduce lights, we have this blue screen, so you probably won't sleep as well tonight. You have this blue screen hitting you, and your brain thinks that's the sun. You know, you have this reptilian brain that's really small, deep inside your brain, and then you have the more human outer part. But the reptilian brain works on all of this. So if you can keep lighting minimal, as soon as the sun goes down, just kind of lower everything. That's safe, I can still walk around. But if you can control the lights, like the temperature of the light, I would do that. You can do that on your phones. If it's an iPhone, you can put night mode on, night switch, something like that. And it'll take the blues out, and that will make it more yellow. And that will allow your eyes to not think, or your brain to not think the sun's coming up, and just kind of get you amped up. And then, I don't know, I just like having a speaker going and just having music I'm talking nice music, not heavy metal, that's not going to calm anyone down. Rivers, birds are great, like I talked about. Rain is great. Thunder, see, I like thunder, but Tornado Girl may not. Was that good?
Yeah.
Okay.
You also use smells, oil diffusers and stuff like that might have overwhelming calm.
Aromatherapy is great. We usually try to have something going on in the office. Lavender is really good. My mom has problems sleeping, so I got her an oil diffuser with lavender. Just, I don't know, something about that smell just calms people down. Anyone else?
I think Blake has a few questions.
Well, that'll be hard to hear.
Speak.
Okay. Well, no one has anything else?
If I can just add,
sure.
Just something really.
Do you want to come up here?
No, that's. Yeah. I mean, that was great, and everything was really well. I hope you guys all took something home. I just want to add, stress is kind of how you were talking, what you make of it. Right now, we're going through a stressful time. We're trying to figure out weddings kind of stuff. So it's really stressful, and you're oh my god, what are we gonna do? And they're well, this is kind of cool actually. Why are we taking this in such a negative tone? This is the first time we'll ever do this. Hopefully, this is the only time.
First time.
But I mean, there's so many different things that we stress about that aren't really that stressful if we just take a moment to just sit back and be all right, that person just gave me a weird look on the street. And then you're why am I really upset and generating this negative thought about that random person that just gave me a weird look? I'm outside, it's raining, but it might be a sunny day, cool, we're outside, we're breathing, we're walking. And just if you can try to take a step back every time you get that angry, this person just cut me off, I'm gonna say some expletives, but just be all right, maybe chill out, maybe they're doing something weird with their life and they're stressed out themselves. Try not to take on that stress from somebody else.
And take it personally.
Yeah.
The practice of not taking things personally changed my life.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then to go off of that, so say your tire blew out and you have to change it out in the rain tonight. Yes, it sucks while you're doing it and you're gonna be wow, I hate this, and you're super stressed out, super angry. But think, are you gonna remember that in a week from now in a couple of months from now and years from now, is that really going to be a core memory that you're pulling from? Probably not. So just let it go. And to go along with that, something that you think is horrible at the time may turn out to be
amazing,
a blessing in disguise.
Yeah.
And something that you thought was going to be super awesome turned out to be the worst decision or the worst whatever. So just let it live. Just live in the now. You know, if you're anxious, you're worrying about the future. If you're depressed, you're thinking about the past, something like that. So just try to live in the now, and you know, you don't know where it's going to lead. But if you just realize there's going to be good days and bad days, and just kind of just take it, I think you'll be better off and less stressed and less amped up about it.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.